Welcome back to Moody Makes. My name is Callie, and today we're going to be making one of my all-time favorite desserts, and that is tiramisu. So tiramisu is absolutely perfect for any and all occasions, and you are absolutely going to love it. And it happens to be much simpler to make than you might think. So before we dive into making this really luxurious and decadent dessert, please, as always, remember to subscribe, like, share, chat in the comment section, and follow me on social media for more recipes and additional content. So let's go over the ingredients. We have some granulated sugar. I have some egg yolks. Here I have some heavy cream that is cold. Do not take the heavy cream out of the refrigerator until you're ready to use it. In fact, I'm gonna put this back into the refrigerator after we go over these ingredients because I'm not gonna need it right away, and we'll talk about why it's really important that it's cold in a bit. Here I have some coffee, vanilla, cocoa powder. I have some additional sugar. I have some alcohol here. I'm using a hazelnut liqueur. You could use Sambuca, you could use rum, you could use a coffee liqueur. Really, most liquors work. And you can omit it completely if you don't want to use it. I also have some salt and I have some mascarpone cheese, which again, similar to the heavy cream, needs to be very, very cold. So do not take it out of the refrigerator until you're ready to use it. And I also have some lady fingers right here. So I have a pot of water that is at a simmer right now. You don't want it to be at a boil. And what we're gonna do after I shuffle a few things around is we are going to cook the eggs and the sugar over the bowl. And this is an optional step. Some people put raw egg yolks in their tiramisu. I don't do that. I feel like if I'm serving it for other people, I just wanna make sure everything is a-okay, no one gets sick from anything that I make. So I'm gonna shuffle some things around and then we're gonna get going on that. Okay, I got some of that out of the way. What we're gonna do here is we're just gonna use a whisk and just mix these until they're nice and combined, the sugar and the egg yolks. And now, at this point, we're gonna cook these over what's called a double boiler. So it's important to note that, like I said earlier, the water isn't boiling, it's at a simmer, and you don't want the water to make any contact with the bottom of the bowl. So make sure you don't add too much water. And now, what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to stir this for about 5 minutes. And what this is gonna do is it's just gonna cook those eggs and just make sure everything is safe to eat. And you wanna be sure to stir pretty much continuously because you don't want the eggs to start scrambling, okay? So just keep stirring until it's nice and kind of pale in color and creamy and all of the sugar is dissolved. And so just keep stirring, again, about 5 minutes to do the trick. So I'm gonna keep just stirring this up and I'll show you what it looks like when it's finished. Okay, so I finished with my eggs and my sugar, and as you can see here, it's really, really smooth and creamy, and it's really kind of almost doubled in volume, and it is absolutely delicious. And so I am just gonna set this aside momentarily, and I took out my heavy cream that I just brought out of the refrigerator. Again, take it out of the refrigerator when you're ready to use it. Before you're ready to use it, keep it in the refrigerator. This needs to be very cold. And now I'm just gonna whip this until it is at soft peaks, and I'll show you what that looks like. It's pretty much the consistency of like Cool Whip. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so this has finished, and as you can see, the heavy cream has doubled in size. It's really, really soft and like kind of luscious and just absolutely beautiful. So I'm gonna set this aside, and I'm gonna grab my mascarpone cheese. Okay, so I grabbed my mascarpone cheese straight from the refrigerator, and the reason why you want to keep these two ingredients really, really cold is because if you do anything else, what is going to happen is it's going to turn the mixture really grainy, meaning you're going to have like these really tiny clumps scattered throughout the batter, and it's not going to be pleasant. I've done it before, so just take my advice and keep these really cold until you're ready to use them, and you won't have any issues. So next, I am just going to grab my mascarpone cheese, and I'm gonna put it into our egg and sugar mixture, and I am just going to give this a whisk until it's combined, and it's actually gonna combine much quicker than you think, especially once it hits the kind of warmth from the sugar and the eggs. Okay, so now that I added all my mascarpone cheese, I'm gonna add a pinch of salt along with my vanilla, and I'm just gonna give everything a mix, and be sure not to overmix anything. Again, you run the risk of things turning grainy. We're working with a lot of fat here, and you have to be very careful when you're working with a lot of fat because you really do run the risk of just textural problems happening, and it's not gonna be good. So I am just going to stir this. And again, it's gonna look like it's not gonna come together, but you're gonna be shocked at how quick everything kind of breaks down. Okay, like I said, that would all come together, and look, it did. So next, what we're gonna do, so I'm gonna switch over to my spatula, and I'm gonna add in my heavy cream, and we're just going to fold everything together gently. And again, do not over mix. You don't want to run the risk of this becoming grainy. So right when it's combined, just stop mixing. And like I said, we're gonna fold this in. So that means taking your spatula and running it around the bottom of the bowl and just folding the batter over itself. Have a little patience. I promise it's all going to come together before you know it. Okay, so that only took, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds or so, and it's all combined, so I'm going to stop mixing, and now I'm going to grab the remainder of our ingredients, and the rest of this process is really just a matter of dipping and dunking and assembling, and that's it. The hard part is over, and it wasn't even really that hard. Okay, so let's finish this up. Here I have my strong coffee, and to this I'm going to add my liquor. Again, I'm using a hazelnut liqueur, and I'm also gonna add my sugar. You really wanna add the sugar when the water's still hot from the coffee, just so everything dissolves. I forgot, so I'm just gonna roll with it. It's gonna be fine. It's still pretty warm, it'll dissolve. So I'm just gonna give this a little stir. And again, if you don't wanna add alcohol, you don't have to have it, but it is traditional in a tiramisu, so I'm gonna go ahead and use it. And it does add a lot of flavor. Okay, so that looks good. And so next, here I have, again, my lady fingers. And you should find these at most grocery stores. You should be able to find them. And so we're just gonna have a little assembly line here. We're gonna take our lady finger, dip it in the coffee, like so. And then we're just gonna add it to our 9 by 13 inch baking dish, just like that. And you wanna kind of dunk them, just quickly shake off the excess coffee. You don't want this to get, too watered down or anything. So just a quick dunk is all it needs. That's it. And so I'm gonna keep adding all my lady fingers on the bottom of this pan, and once the bottom is filled, we will proceed to the custard filling over the top. Okay, so this bottom layer is just about done, and I just want to point out that when you're adding in the lady fingers, do whatever you need to do to get them to fit. Break them in half, turn them any which way, it doesn't matter. You're not gonna be able to know once the tiramisu is finished baking. So like, see, I'm cracking some of these in half just to kind of fill in the gaps. Okay, so this is looking good. So next what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add about half of, whoopsies, the mascarpone filling. And if you're wondering if you could substitute the mascarpone for cheese for anything, the answer is unfortunately no, you can't. It really is just kind of like the perfect filling for a tiramisu. And some people might try to tell you that you could substitute cream cheese, and not true. It has a different flavor. It's way too tangy. Mascarpone cheese is very mild, and it's just perfect for this dessert, and there really is no substitution. But luckily for you, you should be able to find mascarpone at most, if not all, grocery stores. So you should not have a problem with using this for a tiramisu. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take some cocoa powder, and we're just gonna give it a light dusting over the top. Okay, so next we're just gonna repeat that process. We're gonna dip the lady fingers back into the coffee, and we're just gonna add them right over the top of the mascarpone filling, and then we're gonna add the remainder of the mascarpone cheese over the top of these lady fingers, and then we're done. Okay, so next up, I'm just gonna cover this with some plastic wrap and pop it into my refrigerator overnight. You can let it sit for a minimum of maybe 6 hours or so. However, overnight is best, and you will just be totally confident that everything is gonna come out soft and just so delicious. Those lady fingers need time to soak up that coffee and get really, really soft and delicious. So I'm gonna pop this into my refrigerator, and I will see you tomorrow. Okay, so we're back. It's day 2 and my tiramisu is finally ready to eat and it is so amazing. Of course, I've already had some, I'm not gonna lie to you. It is so just creamy and decadent and luxurious, and you saw how easy this was to make, and bring this to literally any occasion and you will impress everyone there, and everyone is absolutely gonna love it. So, as always, for the full written recipe and instructions, head to my blog, moonymix.com. I'll put the link for that in the description box below. Click on the link, the recipe will come right up, and make this tiramisu. I promise you're gonna love it, and let me know what you think because I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.